just started the recording, so at least there will be that. Um, so the agenda today is, as I mentioned, summer statistical updates, just a program update on the access plan, and then we'll have a presentation from Lindsay from Spin, followed by a presentation by Erica from Lime, and then we'll take questions and look ahead. So I am clicking, and we're at the next slide. Current fleet sizes, 2,800 scooters for Spin, 150 e-bikes, 1,675 standing scooters for Lime, 75 seated scooters, and 600 e-bikes, a mix of two different varieties from Lime is what we have currently out here in our streets. Program goals haven't really changed. Set clear expectation for the operators. Grow that access program. We're currently at about 4% of all rides at the access program. We want to get that number up to 20%, which would be reflective of the city as a whole in terms of who would qualify for those access programs. I'm working very hard to ensure the entire fleet of vehicles are safe and operable with my inspections. Looking to provide transportation alternatives to the entire city of Baltimore. I am routinely checking for compliance on fleet condition, vehicle distribution, and issue response times, and ensuring the scooters and bikes are viable solutions and gaps in the transportation network. The map you see on your right is origins and destinations on a hex grid throughout the city, kind of reflecting that the entire city, as well as the arteries coming into town from the county, are places of high use for our dockless vehicles. And I also work with the shareholders, the stakeholders, to address concerns about the program. That is frequently missed parking issues or other concerns in terms of the public right of way. So we have been taking a lot of dockless vehicle trips these past 3 months. In fact, August was the highest ridership month in our program's history. September, that just ended, was the second highest ridership month in program history, and the third was July. So yeah, each month of these past 3 months was a record for ridership. We might anticipate October being another record. Whether or not it's the highest ridership month or not will probably depend on the weather and some other factors. But we're just seeing a lot of adoption of these vehicles, which is encouraging for the program. So thank you to our operators for maintaining the fleets out there that are enabling our citizens to use them so much. For the 3 months of July, August, and September, we saw a total utilization, which is trips per vehicle per day, of 2.5, which is very strong. Number of trips is over 1 million. To date this year, we have about 2.3 million trips have occurred, which is already a yearly record for the program. We can anticipate that being more in the 2.5 range or so by year's end. You can see the trip distance and the trip duration on there. And the greenhouse gas savings are estimated at about upper 60,000 kilograms CO2 EQ, whatever that means. Equivalent, something like that. And again, so we have their standard access program now set in place. It is 80% off all fares with no unlock fees. That amounts to 10 cents or less per minute for folks who are signed up for the access program. And we've seen a big uptick in the number of access riders. I mentioned that rate went up 2 times, it doubled. And I wanted to shout out Omar Faison at Bike More for working hard to get folks signed up, as well as Spin and Lime for holding public events and getting the word out on their own as well. And our Office of Community Engagement as well has been helping spread the word amongst Baltimore residents. So we appreciate that. Keep getting the word out, and we can help a lot of people get around for less. And now it's time to hear from Lindsay Gutierrez from Spin and Bird. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Thank you, Tyler. Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to share a quick snapshot of how Spin's been performing across Baltimore this past quarter and just highlighting some of the engagement work we've been doing across the community. So overall, Q3 has been one of our strongest quarters to date. So we're truly excited about that. Next slide, please. So we saw double-digit growth across rides, users, and fleet utilization, showing a continued momentum in Baltimore's shared mobility program. Riders are increasingly using spin scooters and bikes as part of their everyday mobility, not just for leisure, but truly that daily commute, that first and last mile connection. So again, truly excited about that. Um, we saw we also saw measurable improvement in our rides per vehicle per day, which um, sorry, Tyler, I think you're on your chat. Thank you. If you could just, yes, sorry.
Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
again, no worries. Again, we saw measurable improvement in our rides per vehicle per day, which reflects just overall better operational efficiency from our team. And we saw a strong concentration in areas like downtown, Fells Point, and Federal Hill, which again just continues to hit home that utilization is consistently high in these neighborhoods during the week. Next slide, please. Again, our user base continues to grow and we're seeing more unique users each month and they're riding more frequently as well. This is telling us that riders are satisfied with the experience of the overall program and the brand as well and trust the service, right? We've also seen great engagement with our Spin Access members who continue to represent an important part of our equity strategy here in Baltimore. Next slide, please. July, August, and September were the three strongest months of the year for ridership. August 2025 marked our highest monthly ridership since launch, and we recorded, and it was our best month to date. So truly excited about that as well. Again, the growth reflects new patterns in everyday mobility, and we are excited about continuing this. Next slide, please. Next slide. And as part of our continued commitment to community engagement, our Baltimore team hosted a Labor Day pop-up in downtown where we focused on educating residents and visitors about safety and sustainable parking etiquette, riding, and Spin Access discount program. Events like this are critical to our mission in Baltimore. So truly, truly excited about that. And that is all we have on our end for Spin.
Thank you, Lindsay. And I will hand it over to Erica from Lime.
Hello, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Erica Duffley. I'm the Director of Government Relations for the Mid-Atlantic region here at Lime. I'm excited to tell you all about Lime's third quarter and sort of what is on the horizon for us. So next slide, please. Starting out with ridership, similar to what Tyler and Lindsay both said, Lime saw its best ridership, record ridership in Baltimore this last quarter. The residents and visitors did not let the nasty, abysmal summer weather stop them from getting out and getting on our vehicles. We also saw boosts around Orioles games, around Ravens games towards the end of the quarter. And so we anticipate that we'll continue to see some sustained ridership as football season continues, despite the unfortunate happenings going on with the Ravens. Still great ridership. We had over, I think, yeah. Sorry, did you go to the next slide, Tyler? Yeah.
I
Sorry,
did,
the
but then
number.
I went back because I thought I jumped the gun.
No, it's all good. I can adjust on the fly. Yes. So broken down by vehicle type, we saw almost 600,000 scooter trips, which is fantastic. But what we're most excited about is we saw nearly 200,000 e-bike trips. next slide, Tyler. This was driven primarily by our Lime bike addition to the market, which we launched in May. We're seeing, great uptick in bike adoption based on this new vehicle mode that people seem to really like. We saw over the past 7 weeks over 29% higher TBD on our Lime bikes versus our Gen 4 model, which has sort of prompted us to make the decision to do a full fleet swap to the Lime bike in Baltimore and continue working with our partners at DOT to increase our bike deployment in the city as is needed by demand. So next slide, please. The last thing I want to highlight is we just launched company-wide our More Life with Lime fall campaign, reminding riders, urging folks to get out of their cars, spend less time in traffic, spend less time traveling, get out and explore their cities as the weather cools down. As you all know, in the Mid-Atlantic, we have quite mild weather going well into the year. And so this is a perfect opportunity to get out and explore Baltimore. To that end, I would like to encourage you all to reach out to us if there are events happening this fall and winter that you would like us to sponsor or participate in. Our work does not stop just because summer is over. And then I would also like to introduce to that end 2 new staff members we have that are going to be doing work in Baltimore. Nana, go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Nana Amwako Richards. I'm the regional lead for the Mid-Atlantic region at Lime in government relations. I'm working with Erica, focusing on compliance, events, and any issues that arise. So please reach out to me, or also Erica, of course. If you have any questions or need some support. So hi everyone.
And Jonathan?
Hey everyone, I'm Jonathan. I'm the ops associate here in Baltimore. So I manage the Baltimore warehouse, and I'll be working closely with Jared and Nana and Erica going forward to manage the market. So looking forward to speaking with you guys more.
Thanks, team. And you can go to the next slide, Tyler, which is my thank you slide. Wrapping it up there. Thank you all for your time, and please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us if you have any issues, questions, or invites that you would like to extend.
All right, thank you, Lime and Spin team. So, looking ahead, I am currently refreshing the paint on our existing corral network. You can expect to see more of that happening. We're getting those signs replaced as well where needed. As I mentioned previously, the access rides, while they have doubled from 2 to 4%, we are still short of our stated goal of 20%. So that is going to be another focus of this program moving forward. And of course, please continue using 311 to report any scooters or e-bikes that are not properly parked or misparked, as we call them. And with that, I'm happy to open it up to any questions from our still existing audience. Anyone have any questions? Is there anything in the chat? Go ahead, Viola.
Good morning. My name is Viola Willems. I'm with the Office of Equity and Civil Rights for the city. I work specifically with the Mayor's Commission on Disabilities, and they were wondering whether either of the current vendors is integrating any more accessible vehicles into their fleet. Previously, some of the vendors in the last couple of years did have very accessible vehicle options that were available on a on-demand delivery basis by the day, and then others also had scooters with seats that aren't accessible per se, but they're more accessible options. Are there, and I just didn't see any of those in the pictures or in the stats. Does anyone currently have those out on the market?
So I'll let our operators answer if they would like as well, but just real quick, there are 75, actually more like 100 on the ground of the seated scooters from Lime. Um, to my mind, the most accessible vehicle would be like a 3 or 4 wheeled um, electric, you know, vehicle. There are available by, contacting the operators, a vehicle more like that that can be delivered on demand. But in terms of out on the streets, we do not have those in significant numbers. Erica or Lindsay, did you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, I wanted to echo what you said. Yeah, one, we have seated scooters, which aren't um, wholly accessible as you still have to push off, but at least somewhat more accessible than the standing scooter. As Tyler mentioned, we do have the accessible vehicle on demand that people can contact us and we will deliver it and pick up at no cost for rent for 24 hours. And then this is something still in development. So uh, there is still the possibility that it doesn't happen. But next year we have more accessible, I think, seated scooter model, as we're calling it, but it's almost a pedalless bike. It's called the Lime Glider that Lime has been working to introduce into more of our markets and hoping that Baltimore will be on that list for 2026. Of course, with you know, authority and permission from the city. But yeah, really looking to expand our offerings to differently abled people across the board.
And likewise for Spin, if you reach out to our operations team, we can deliver our accessible vehicles. We do not have any currently free floating out in the city.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that the Commission on Disabilities does have an outreach event coming up on Saturday, October 25th. And if you wanted to showcase any of the accessible vehicles that are available on the on-demand basis, I think they would be happy to have you. If that's interest to you, let me know.
Yes, that is of great interest with us. Please share the details.
I'll shoot you an email, Tyler.
Appreciate that. I see Patrick had your hand up.
Yeah, I just had a few related questions about parking, and I guess I'm curious how often the providers review the photos taken by users after parking to see if they're parked appropriately, and then if when they're doing fleet distribution, do the folks doing that take photos to be reviewed, see if they're parked appropriately, and then I guess more on the city side, to what extent are new corrals being provided, or how much of those have been expanded, and what's the process for growing those?
So I'll speak to the corrals side of it. We've added one. We are adding more over the next few months for sure. I would estimate probably at least a dozen additional ones. I'm looking at the trip data in terms of where rides are ending. I'm also hearing from members of the public who want a corral near them. There is a corral request form online you can find, and I can post that link in the chat. And then Lindsay, do you want to speak first to the parking thing, and then Erica?
Yes, thank you, Tyler. We do have an AI verification. We also, every 24 hours, go into the system and do any manual verifications for any photos that were not able to be verified through that AI technology.
Yeah, similarly, Lime's approach is sort of double, we take it from two different angles. First, we have what's called capture, which tries to it use sort of real-time images of the sidewalk and the parking job, like while you are on your trip, to sort of intervene on improper parking jobs in real time before someone is able to end their trip, which helps sort of prevent poor parking. And then after that, we do use sort of AI technology to review all of the end trip photos with some human review on the back end. So hopefully, utilizing sort of all 2.5 of those approaches, we can address parking complaints. And then I'll say yes, confirming that when our team does go out to deploy vehicles, to move vehicles, we both have them tidy up. If you see, vehicles that are sort of in the way, even if no one has complained about it, please, of course, tidy them up. And then they take sort of before and after. So we have verification internally that the vehicles are located somewhere that is not blocking the sidewalk or the street.
Got it. Thanks. Yeah, I used a Lime bike in London and saw the AI technology there that sort of said, this is a good version, or no, you need to move this, and was impressed by that and hadn't seen that here. And then I ended up moving a fair amount of vehicles sort of out of the path of the sidewalk, and need to take more photos of them and send them to 311. But too often I see groups of scooters that are parked inappropriately that I'm assuming are deployment related rather than just people putting them out.
I'll say for sure, please let us know if and when you see that. That's definitely something, because we can tell who has deployed a vehicle, and if they've deployed it improperly, of course we'd want to take action.
Yeah, I'm also happy to receive reports for what looks like a bad deployment. I'm happy to pass it on to the operators. I also wanted to add that I do response time audits in terms of reporting of misparked vehicles. Both operators were responding within the program parameters, so I was happy to see that. Viola, your hand back up.
Sorry, it was just never down, but
Oh, okay.
no, I love the corrals and anything that can be done to keep them from being parked incorrectly, because when they block the rights of way, the main folks who I talk to are people who use mobility devices like wheelchairs, and when the right of way is reduced to less than 3 feet, then they're no longer able to pass the sidewalk.
Yeah, it's been an issue since before me, and it's something we try to focus on all the time. Nothing is worse for the popularity of this program than blocking the right of way. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right. If there's nothing further, I will wrap it up. Sorry for the technical difficulties again. I will make sure that that specific issue does not happen in the future. And thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Tyler. Bye, everyone.